So now we're going to look at the business rules table for this context, advising the supplier of the bad test results. So again, the questions, I've made the table already. The questions, first of all, the placeholder question, for a single specific organ, how many test results might we advise the supplier of? Could we advise them of one test result? And the answer from our subject matter experts could be, yeah, sure we could. Might we advise them of several test results? Of course we could. And now we're only talking bad test results here, remember that. So is it possible that we never advise them of any bad test results? Yeah, that's true. I'm going to put that in there, and as soon as I have that zero, I've got to ask again. The follow-on question is, under what circumstance would it be true that we never tell them about any bad test results? And the answer is only when there aren't any bad test results. So we haven't found a new event. It's the absence of bad test results in the testing process itself. Okay. For a single specific organ, how many tests, the test type, such as hepatitis C, do we tell the supplier of? Well, we always do that in conjunction with the test result itself, but it could be for one test, could be for several tests. And of course, we may never tell them about any tests at all because we're only concerned with bad test results here, and there may never be any bad test results. For a single specific organ, how many suppliers do we advise? Well, by itself, we don't tell the supplier about the supplier or about the organ. We have to deal only with the test results and the actual test types. So I'm going to say that that's not applicable. We don't really care. For a single specific test result, how many organs do we tell the supplier of? So a single specific test result, such as negative, for example. How many organs? I don't think it sounds like a very interesting question. I think we've answered the question here dealing with organ. Organ seems to be the base, the foundation. So I'm going to say that that's NA because it seems too difficult to deal with, and I don't think that the client would probably agree, and they'd say, well, we'd never do it that way. We'd never use the test result as the foundation. The organ would be the foundation, then we'd get the test result and what kind of test it was. So test result and test, NA, and test result and supplier by itself, the test result would be positive. So we're going to tell them, here's a bad test result, but we're not going to tell them what the organ is, we're not going to tell them what kind of test. Doesn't sound very interesting. So for a single specific test, such as a Hep C test, how many organs would we tell the supplier about? Well, we could tell them about one organ and several organs in terms of bad test results. And of course, we might never find any bad test results at all. Right? But we're talking tests, aren't we? Not test results. So again, that goes over here, but not here. So sometimes these questions can get tricky because of how we name them. So we have to be a little bit careful with that. But for a single test, how many test results might we advise the supplier of? Well, we're only concerned with bad ones, so there could be one or more bad ones for a test at different times, different organs, right? And there may never be any at all. Okay? And tests and suppliers don't go together. In this case, for a single specific supplier, how many organs do we tell them about that have bad results? Well, could be one organ, could be many, might never be any at all because maybe all of the organs are good. For a single specific supplier, how many test results do we tell them about? Could be one, could be many, may never be any because we only tell them about the bad ones. So if we have only good ones, there's nothing to tell them. And for a single specific supplier, how many tests do we tell them about? Well, if we tell them about a test result, positive, we've got to tell them about what kind of test it was too. So these things do go together. So it may be exactly the same thing. So you can see how sometimes these questions can get a little bit tricky. So take your time through them, work on them carefully with your subject matter experts. And if you get confused, just go back to the basic set of business rules tables questions and ask your subject matter experts. They know the business, and they'll tell you how it works. And always stay anchored to the subject, which would be the anchor object. All right, so we can go on to the next one then.